Hippie van man in a hippie man van travels the world and gets all the girls. Oh, hippie van man in a hippie man van, he's living life 1 mile at a time. Oh, hippie van man.
Alright, welcome to the Nielsen-Bellman residence. I'm sitting here with my mother Barbara.
Hi.
And my father Lionel.
Peace.
And earlier actually it was last week, I put a question on the Facebook group to see what questions people had for my parents. Traveling around in the hippie van and just traveling in general, one of the most frequent questions I get is, what do your parents think of all this? So I guess with that being said, I'll start off with, what do you guys think of this? The travels and all that.
I first of all think that you're one of the luckiest guys around, being able to do this, to travel like you are traveling. Something that I wish that I could have taken advantage of when I was younger, in my youth, and now I have to do it as an older guy. So kudos to you, Aaron, for doing the adventure and doing your thing.
And I think it's great that you get to travel, and I think it's great that you've got a career, profession where you can kind of do it from anywhere and really expand your horizons by checking out other cultures, other countries. And I think it's it really augments your formal education that you had, and will serve you well no matter what you end up doing in the long run over the course of your life.
Would your parents bail you out of jail? Have they already? I don't know who wants to. I'll let my mom.
We'd probably bail you out of jail, but if you'll recall, we told you if you were going to get kidnapped, we'd say sorry. There's nothing we can do because we don't have the resources. So you're kind of screwed if you get kidnapped and somebody wants a big ransom.
What advice would they give to other parents whose children are aspiring to travel as well?
Don't let them go.
I think maybe this question comes up, and maybe I'll answer a couple of questions, because one of the things I try to teach parents when I'm working with them as a social worker.
Sorry, and for those who don't know what you do, you're social.
I just said, as a social worker, is well, parents would love to be able to bubble wrap and get plastic bubbles to put their kids in so nothing would ever hurt them. We can't do that, and it's not practical. So what you need to do is to raise your children to have the tools to be able to make good decisions and to take care of themselves, and really think logically and take care of themselves. So while I get anxious, I've had a lot of parents or friends say to me, how could you let him go? Well, as if we had a choice. I mean, Aaron's been doing the big things that Aaron wants to do for a long time, and I really feel like we did give him the tools that help him to make the good decisions and to get the outside consultation he needs if he can't make the decision on his own. And so I think if other parents are thinking about that, they just need to really trust their kids, that their kids are going to make good decisions, and if they're starting early, that they work on giving them those tools.
Anything to add?
Don't let him go. Keep him close. That's the word. Keep your children close.
It's not good. Not good advice at all. Sorry. What's the thing you miss most about me being gone?
When you're gone, what we miss? We miss everything. I mean, when you're here, when you're away, we do things and we think, boy, Aaron would really like this, and it's too bad that you're not here to do this, or when he comes home, I'll have to do that. Miss your sense of humor, miss you pulling your dad's pants down from time to time when he's least expecting it. Miss the fun that we have and the playing that we get to do, no matter how old we all get. And So I really miss that when you're gone.
When I was about Aaron's age, my fantasy was that I could be friends with my father. However, that was a different time and a different day. Aaron's like my best buddy. He's my friend, and yet at times I have to be his father, so it's a delicate line. And I think Aaron and I have worked out a really, really A1 relationship. I couldn't ask for anything more from him with respect to the camaraderie that we have and the respect that we have for each other.
Valid points, valid points. Our next question comes from Stephanie. How do you calm your nerves / worries about his travels? Also, how do you reassure your parents that you're fine and safe? Well, I'll start with my portion of the question. I don't think I do much reassurance. It started...
You actually lie and tell me really awful things.
I don't lie.
And you call
No,
and give accents and say, "This is Sergeant so-and-so, and I've just picked your son up for dealing cocaine. Will you come and bail him out of jail?" You've done that for years.
So yes, I do like to joke around, but I don't lie to my parents. We have a great relationship, and I tell them pretty much the whole truth. What I have done in the past, as we were talking about, for instance, when I went skydiving a few years ago, I knew if I told my parents, my mom in particular would be really worried about that, so I waited until after I did the skydive, and I said, "Hey Mom, by the way, I did a skydive earlier today," and then it's already over and done with. There's no fear left to be had because everything went fine. So.
Except what he also is aware of, that when he tells me he's going somewhere, I immediately Google where he's going, and I'll say something about that. And for the skydiving, the first thing that came up in Pukan was skydiving, and I said to Lionel, I know he's going to skydive because he's always wanted to do it, so that anxiety's in the back of my head. But that's one of the things I do. I think it drives Lionel a bit nuts. I Google wherever he is. I have a Google alert, and it's not... Aaron thinks it's just so I can know the bad things that are going on, and it's not. I feel like we kind of travel with him. I find out things that I never hear about if I'm not doing Google alerts, because our press doesn't talk about them. So all sorts of events that are affecting people's lives around the world, and I think that's something I really want to know about. And then sometimes I'll send him resources, and again, that's the social worker in me, that I tend to network. I tend to say prepare, so I'll say, did you know this, did you know that? And also, I read a lot of travel blogs, and someone else had this experience and this was helpful. So I try to do that without being intrusive and being like a backseat driver, because that's one of the things that I do in the car that drives Aaron nuts. And but just let him know. And what I ask him is that he let us know where he is, because there's times if he were to disappear and I had no idea where to start looking for him, that would be a problem. And so I don't want to know every single moment of everything he's doing. The fact that I can follow him on Facebook and know where he is, and I just see the lights green, he's alive, and that's a good thing. And we've been through a number of things over the travels. When we didn't hear from you for 9 days during the 8.7 earthquake in Chile, and I knew you weren't near it, but there were concerns about tsunamis, and so just then sort of talking it through. I'll tell Lionel, and Lionel will say, "Why are you telling me this?" But for me, I like to know what's going on, where he is, and that makes me feel connected as well.
Did I say don't let him go? Make him stay home. Now, what was the question?
But how?
Yeah, how do you keep your cool
anxiety?
and not be anxious when I'm off adventuring?
Well, I probably drink a little more scotch than I used to, and probably do a little extra doobie here or there. It helps numb me out, and then I just have to contend a bit with my wife Barbara, who has to tell me every detail. which is worse than thinking about him. Is that better?
Much better.
Okay.
But you fucked. So I fucked up.
Take 3.
Because oddly enough, well, there's Dagan. I don't know if he's in the frame.
You don't want Dagan in the frame?